I'm Gita Brahan. Today I'm going to tell you how to write laboratory reports. Just your laboratory report format contains about 12 to 10 parts. The first is the cover sheet, that is, it contains the code of the course, title of the experiment you're conducting. If you are conduct the experiment alone, you should write your name, or if you are conducting the experiment in group, the list of students that conduct experiments should have to be written. Again, the instructor's name and assistant name has also be to written upon the cover sheets. Again, the second part of the experiment is experiment number. In fact, I've told you about the experiment number. You have to write it on the cover sheet. At the beginning of the first page of your experiment, you need to write the experiment number and its title. Just the experiment one, for example, if you are conducting experiment about measurement and uncertainty, you should write it just the way. Then, following the experiment number and the title of experiment, you have to write the objective of your experiment. That means what you are going to, you need to write or include what you are going to do in the experiment. We want to show this one or in such a way you can write the experiment. As an example, if you are conducting about measurement and uncertainty, we are going to measure the mass, length, time of objects. You can say it in such a way. Or if we will measure density of objects. Next, the apparatus has to be written. That means the apparatus you used in the experiment, you will list them, writing the function of each apparatus may not be mandatory, but if you want, you can write it. Next, the theory follows. Theory means the general scientific facts about the experiment you are conducting will be written in precise way, but here writing the theory word by word is not good. Yes, it takes time, and it's not good in general. You have to write the theory in short and brief, clear way. That is it. Next is procedure. The procedure is a part of experiment that tells you the steps you follow while conducting the experiment. That means, for example, you may say first we measure this, then we measure this. Actually, the experiments generally consists of measurement. You are measuring something while conducting experiment. Thus, things has to be written. One thing you have to underline here is the procedure has to be written in passive voice. In passive voice, the active verbs has to be changed into passive. For example, upon the manual, it may says measure the length of the the length. It may say measure the length. When you write reports, that means when you report this procedure, the length of something has been measured, or you may say like that. Next is the data sheet. Data sheet is a sheet that your assistant puts his sign upon it. It has to be written here. All data you take in laboratory will be observed by your assistant and be signed upon it. You will use those data in order to analyze your report. In order to analyze, you will use those data. Just using pencil is not allowed here, because what you analyze has not been converted while writing a report at your home. Just you need to consider the units, uncertainty, significant figures has also need to be there has to be included upon your data. The next one is calculation. Here, sample calculation. That means when you write a report, you need to show bulky calculations. That means, for example, you may take many trials, at least 4 or 5 trials, in order to show specific thing. Showing one is enough. You have to show one of the trials, and the next will, if you say, the remaining will be did in the same way. That we recommend that one. Just in order to show the sample one. Writing each of them is not good. It may take your time. When you analyze your data, you may use graphs, tables, and figures. Next is discussion of the result. Now, upon discussion of the result, this is an important part of the experiment, and here you analyze the data and begin the discussion with the experimental purpose and briefly summarize the basic idea of the experiment. In fact, I will attach this one and you will read it very, very well. Just if you gets difficulty, you may ask me on the channel here. Conclusion has to be included. For example, if you are asked in your experiment, if you are asked to determine density of aluminum, you may get 2.5 or something, but the actual is 2.7. Upon conclusion, you will say something or conclude your experiment by comparing the actual density of aluminum with that of the result you get, or you may recommend the parameters that has to be controlled in order to get the appropriate results. Next is datasheet. This is what your technical assistant or instructors has put his sign, has to be attached at the end of the report. References, the books or materials that has been used while writing the report will be written at the end. That is the general format of most experiments conducted. That is it. Thank you for watching.